RD24 wants to know, what's your level of optimism for the rest of the season after the first 2 weeks? And should fans feel confident or worried about the season, and why?
Okay. So, I don't care one way or the other what happens for Penn State's results, but on their behalf, yeah, I think there is more optimism. Look, remember last year when you got to the UMass game, and it was the conversation coming out of that was something's not right, right? In a game that they won easily and by a lot, but
Yep.
it was still something's not right. And then they went to Ohio State, and something's not right turned into something's wrong. Right? Like something is wrong. And it showed up again against Michigan. I see, again, broad picture, and defense that's going to take a step back. They're not going to be as stout. They're not going to be as suffocating. They will generate turnovers, I believe. And that will be tremendously helpful for Penn State and this offense. And I see an offense that has the ability. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that they will continue to do this, but can score points and can do so efficiently and can do so quickly. And James Franklin said it on his radio show last Thursday, and I thought it was extremely applicable, talking about how all of these teams that Penn State plays, especially a team like Bowling Green and a lot of teams that are going to be on schedule for Penn State this season, are going to want Penn State and Drew Aller to dink and dunk their way down the field. That is what everybody forced Penn State to do last season. And sometimes, for the most part, Penn State had enough talent that they and enough maturity that they could do that. But he said on Thursday night, it's not realistic to expect that at this level of football. It is not. You just cannot make a living offensively having to produce 12 play drives all the time. You cannot do that.
Iowa. That's my problem with their philosophy.
And but look at Iowa. Iowa's winning percentage is like 10th in the country over the last 10 years. They are a very successful program, and there are a ton of programs that you can do that against and have success. Penn State has crossed that bridge. They are beyond that.
They have crossed that Rubicon.
They have crossed that Rubicon. This is a Penn State program that it has achieved all of that. It has reached that level of success.
Ceiling. Yes, there's a glass ceiling on that style of play. Glass ceiling. I don't know if that, again, I'm mixing my metaphors, and it's there. Like, I don't know if glass is, but there's a ceiling. There's a concrete ceiling generally on that style of play. And again, if you want, don't come at me with Michigan last year. Michigan was explosive. They had explosive passes. When they threw the ball, they got chunks, and they got chunks on the ground. Penn State last year was not doing that. Nate, this is my whole thing, because like Mac the Mustard Man and AG Duke, they're not optimistic about this team, but I think that is more of a mindset than the facts that are being presented. And that's, I guess, like, I get bewildered sometimes by the chat, because like, are you honestly feeling that way, or do you want to feel that way? And I'm not, this is genuine. What I'm coming away from the first 2 games is they've got an elite quarterback, and they've got an elite running back, and they've got elite weapons when they're clicking with Tyler Warren, and the choices that they're making on offense to the way they beat these 2 teams. I'm very optimistic. And on defense, I think there's more to come. Injuries are part of it, and a sleepy first half turned into a dominant second half where guys calmed down and woke up, both simultaneously happening. So through the first 8 quarters of the season, the ingredients to make an explosive offense that can do all the things you want are there. And the quarterback thing was the number one thing we talked about coming into this season. And it's the best thing about the team at this point is Drew Aller is dealing on third down. He's dealing deep. He's accurate for the most part. We're allowing him to make some mistakes this year, and he's killing it. And yet, I don't understand why none of that is making fans excited. I mean, I'm excited.
Last year, everyone came out of that West Virginia game and saw that pass to Keandre that was behind him, but went for 72 yards and a touchdown. And they were like, this is it. This is the guy. And then they didn't see him again the rest of the season. I've seen that guy exponentially better over the last 2 weeks, even when it hasn't worked out. They had a bunch of plays that pass to Katron Allen, that Katron drop, and like it's a tough play, but that drop was an exceptionally good pass. That was like him moving around in the pocket, escaping the pocket, prolonging plays, making plays with his feet. This is the Drew Aller that everyone begged for, and he's doing it. And it's game changing. These are all of the things that everyone wanted to see, and Drew Aller's doing it. And guess what? Not only is he doing it, but Nick Singleton's doing it alongside him. And when you have two guys doing that, when you have Trey Wallace making the plays that he made at West Virginia, does he have to do it more consistently? Absolutely. He's got He's got to be able to show up all the time. Omari Evans is getting better. Omari Evans is a threat. We talked about that before the season. This is what Penn State needs, is for Omari Evans to hit. They needed Omari Evans to hit more than they needed Liam Clifford to hit, more than they needed Julian Fleming to hit, more than they need Caden Saunders to hit. They need Omari Evans to hit. And so if he keeps doing that and getting open and making plays on the ball downfield, it changes the dynamic of the offense. Tyler Warren being the showstopper tight end, not having to share the stage. Chuck Losey talked about it in June, about him having the opportunity to be the best that Penn State has ever had at the position. There is a reason for that. These guys are super good, and Penn State finally also has a coordinator at the same time that can put those guys in the best position to succeed. So when you have that and they're all clicking at the same time, and even when they're not all clicking at the same time, if you've got 3 out of 5 of those going on the same day, you're going to be very, very happy about where Penn State stands at the end of the day.
And so I want to answer this final question because it ties in. Our weekly staff meeting is going to have to wait a couple minutes because I'm not done. Drew and his decision-making. Is it fair to say that 2024 Drew is scrambling in instances where 2023 Drew Aller might have thrown it away? He definitely ran some last year, but it feels like he's making a point of making plays with his legs this year. He says, love the show. G. Martinez, you bring up a good point, and I also want to go into the decision-making process of when to run, when to throw, when to scramble, and this is all happening because pressure is getting to him, and he is not falling apart. So that's all that Nate, when you and I were talking about this offseason, that's what I said. That's the whole ball game this year. If he fixes the mental side, he's going to be a draftable quarterback. He's going to be everything that everybody wants him to be. And this is the last thing I want to say. Mac, Duke, the fans that are negative and concerned and like have the scars of years past. I get it. I'm not saying they're going to win a national championship this year. I'm not saying they're going to the Big Ten championship. I'm saying that what I've seen so far is the offense and the situation that gets you, the door is open. Like the door is open. Whether they walk through it or not is to be determined. You could be right. Like in the end, you could be absolutely right and you can have a victory parade in the chat and that, but it's the fact that they're doing the things that are indicative of a higher level of success and competing at a higher level. It's 2 weeks of the season, and we'll see what happens on the other side. But I would be optimistic if I'm a fan. I would be brave and know that you could still fail, but that's what bravery is having hope in the face of adversity. Nate, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that if Penn State loses 37-36 to Ohio State this year, that will have been progress. That's it. But they have a chance. That's to me, this is the very clear difference between last year and this year is you cannot just have one side of the ball that's really, really good, awesome, and then hope that you can scrounge through on the other side of the ball to get there. I think, look, if Penn State has a top 20 offense or defense, this year, but makes a ton of plays but finishes statistically right in not at number 1 overall in total yards allowed, not number 1 in rushing yards allowed, but finishes top 20, but has a top 20 legitimate, not just a scoring offense, but a scoring offense that is efficient and explosive and smooth. If Penn State can have those together at the same time. They're going to give themselves a chance to win every game that they play. That's all you are asking for. That is where this program is. And giving yourself that opportunity, you take your shot.